I've made plenty of videos like this, and in fact, I just shot a whole one that was 36 minutes long, so that's way too long. So let's see if we can condense this. The point of this video is to ask John Prosser and anybody else, if you aren't satisfied with a product that a company is making, why do you continue to buy it? Here, we're talking about the iPhone. If you aren't happy with it, why do you continue to buy it? So he's going to mention 3 things that he's not happy with, that have been problems in the devices for years. The battery size, charge speeds, and Siri. 3 things that are part of the phone that he is not satisfied with. So why do you continue to buy it? But let's hear what he has to say. But first, did you have a hard time waking up this morning? If you did, go ahead, hit that subscribe button, like, and comment below. Hopefully today isn't Monday.
The iPhone 16 will not be official until September, but we know nearly everything already. The bezels are once again shrinking just a tad, and with that comes a little bit more in the way of displays. Instead of the iPhone 16 Pro getting a 6.1-inch display and the Pro Max having a 6.7-inch display, now we're looking at something closer to 6.3 and 6.9 inches respectively. On the back of those regular base models, the cameras are getting a new layout though, looking a lot more like this, with 2 lenses stacked vertically, which is necessary for something like spatial video. Okay, now let's talk about something that does matter, okay? Something that I do care about, and that is, of course, how long this f***ing phone gonna stay on? Battery life is important. Now, well, battery on the iPhone 15 Pro, as I stated in my not a review video thing, is the same as the iPhone 14 Pro. It's not terrible, but it's also not great. But get this, in 2024, this new year of years, the year of our Lord, we are getting quite the upgrade, people, from the iPhone 15 Pro's measly little 3,274 milliamp hours to, get this, drumroll please, the iPhone 16 Pro's 3,355 milliamp hours.
Now, he didn't finish the actual number right there, but you can see it on the screen, and we're going to go over to GSM Arena in a quick second. But before we go over there, I have to ask, which I guess isn't a huge concern for him, but it should be. You have the iPhone 16 Pro, and this holds true for the 15 series as well. Why is the battery smaller in the 16 Pro compared to the regular 16? Pro device, why does it have a smaller battery? And then somebody might make the argument of, the 16 Pro for a variety of reasons is better optimized, whatever. If that were the case, why isn't the battery in the 16 Pro Max smaller than the battery in the iPhone 16 Plus? It's substantially larger, actually. But those are questions that don't get asked by a lot of Apple consumers. But let's go over to GSM Arena after he finishes his next little point.
Now you might be wondering, what's the math on that, right? How big of a jump? Well, if we just take the 3, carry the 2.5%. Improvement, 2.5%.
So I know some people are going to say, well, the phone can only be so big, therefore the battery can only be so big, which technically is true. But battery size and battery capacity are not the same thing. So I'm no expert on it, but looking at the devices I have on the screen right now, we have a phone that is smaller than the iPhone 15 Pro and a phone that is as big as what the iPhone 16 Pro is going to be. In the Zenfone 10, which I own, I love using it. The battery in that is 4,300 milliamp hours. So bigger than the current 15 Pro, close to the size of the 15 Pro Max. And that 4,300 hours is still bigger than what's going to be in the 16 Pro. Now, if we look at another phone that has a screen size of 6.3 inches, we have the Xiaomi 14, and that has a battery that has a capacity of 4,600 milliamp hours. So we have phones that are smaller than the 15 Pro and 16 Pro, phones that are going to be the same size as the 16 Pro, and battery capacities in both of them are bigger. So Apple is choosing to put smaller batteries in their phones just because. And customers like John appear to be unhappy with it, yet they continue to buy the product. And if you continue to buy the product, any company, Apple included, will continue pulling these shenanigans. Now, he didn't talk about it yet, but he'll talk about wired charge speeds, terrible in the iPhone. And the technology exists to charge phones upwards of 90 watts. And the Xiaomi 14 is capable of charging at 90 watts. The OnePlus is also up there, I think at 80 watts in the US and like 100 watts maybe or something outside the US. So charge speeds can be fast, yet companies like Apple and Samsung, and I'll show some of their stuff later on, because they are the big players and there isn't really much competition, they choose to skimp on a lot of the stuff. Now, the other thing he talked about is camera placement. If I could just summarize, there are other iPhones that have vertically stacked cameras. Why can't any of those that aren't the 15 Pro or later, why can't any of them shoot spatial video? The iPhone 12 always comes to mind, and any of the Pro devices that have that 3-camera layout. Why can't any of them shoot spatial video? I rag on Apple all the time, but I do it because other companies follow suit. And Samsung, I don't know what it is about the company, I don't know what it is about One UI, but the company's decision to put small batteries in the phone, combined with whatever One UI does in terms of sucking electricity, the 3,700 milliamp hours in the S22 to the 3,900 in the S23, and even the 4,000 in the S24 just never seemed to be enough. So I complain about what Apple does because other companies follow. Samsung isn't following in this regard directly, but they are following indirectly by putting too low of capacity batteries in their devices, and we having to deal with it. Now, as I said before, wired charge speeds can be substantially faster, but Samsung is another company that chooses to give you kind of the bare minimum. 25 watts across the board right there. Not that great. And I wanted to include this real quick because for a device that has a screen size of 6.1 inches, it is possible to put a battery that has a capacity of 5,000 milliamp hours. Sony does it. Why doesn't Apple do it?
The rumors and leaks suggest that Apple will be implementing faster charge speeds for both wired and wireless charging, going from a max 27 watt wired charge for 15 Pro to 40 watts on the 16 Pro, and of course, from 15 watt MagSafe wireless charging to 20. And listen, I want to be happy for us, but I feel like this should have been done a long time ago, so can only be so happy.
So yeah, I couldn't agree more that great Apple for making some minor spec bumps, but a lot of this stuff should have happened a long time ago. But why didn't it happen? Because people continue to give them money, so they essentially have been given the green light to continue providing these subpar products.
This time, the iPhone 16 Pro will be packing the A18 Pro chip, of course, but aside from speed improvements that we have come to expect, anyway, it's gonna get hot because new improvements, new enhanced neural engine. You see, Apple's AI adjacent assistant thing, Siri, it already processes all of the things on your phone. But as you know, Siri is, terrible, bad, useless. And it is terrible. It's because ever since Siri debuted back in a long time ago, it's terrible! It is time, Tim! Tim! Listen! It's time, brother!
Yeah, you can hear how pissed he is about it, because Siri is not good. So people will either use Alexa for whatever you can. I don't use Alexa, but I know some people do use Alexa. And people will use the Google Assistant. So he appears to be pissed about 3 things in this particular video. Siri's garbage. Apple could have made it better over the years, but they have chosen not to. And I think part of that is privacy concerns, whatever. Charge speeds are nowhere near as good as they could be. But even for the improvements that we're going to see in the iPhone 16, John, myself, and plenty of other people are asking, are saying should have happened a long time ago. Like, there's no reason that these faster charge speeds didn't come a long time ago. And then the first thing that he mentioned is battery capacity. 32 or 3300, whatever it's going to be, terrible by today's standard. Phones that are similar in size have battery capacities that are much larger. We're talking, 50 to 60% increases in capacity compared to what's available in the iPhone. All I can say, as I'm sitting here in this car, because it's starting to get hot, why continue to give them money when you are not satisfied with their product? Now, I don't want to be a hypocrite because I'm recording the video on an iPhone 15 and I'm using software on this MacBook. I buy used products, so I'm not technically giving money directly to Apple. But the only reason I got the iPhone is because of iMessage. And in fact, I got the iPhone because of iMessage because I had a Mac first. And I was like, well, I have this Mac, so let me get this companion device. But I'm happy to not use the iPhone as my primary device. I actually have my Zenfone 10 right here that I use as my primary device. But I got the Mac because from a computing standpoint, it's a really good device. I mean, the fact that I can sit out here and record my YouTube video in a car using a laptop, and it's nice that it connects seamlessly to the phone to have a secondary camera, I'm not going to lie. It's a nice thing, but there are other issues that are, I guess, low-hanging fruit that Apple could easily fix to just make the product better and make the user experience better. So, last thing I will say, subscribe, like, comment, all of those things. But the question is, if you aren't satisfied with a company's products, why do you continue buying them? It's very important that you vote with your wallet.